Motivation waxes and wanes, man. It's not there every day. You just got to show up. If you're in a bad mood, you still have to show up. If you're tired, you still have to show up. If things aren't working in your favor right now, you still have to show up. A lot of the process of being successful is just showing up, even when you don't want to. Matt!
What's up, Rick?
Not much, man. We are reached that time of year again, and you had to even remind me this year, so we almost blew right past it.
I know. Well, you're getting so old that you can't even remember all your important dates.
I know. Well, that's because we've been in business for 1,000 years now.
It's your birthday and anniversary all at the same time.
I know. Birthday was yesterday. Anniversary was September, and I blew right past it.
I know. But we usually do this around your birthday, I think.
Do we?
Yeah, because I remember having maybe we just, I don't know. I thought it was around your birthday.
Combo. Well, neither Matt and I drink very much or ever, and so today we're having a little whiskey. Look at these. If you're watching, we've got these alloy branded glasses. Cheers, my friend.
Yeah. Cheers.
How long you been here? 15 years now?
15 years, 34 years for you in this building.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's got a bite to it when you don't drink. So we are having
hammered.
a whiskey neat. Matt's picking up the kids after this.
Yeah,
very responsible.
Straight to a basketball game.
You'll be like, oh, it's a guy. You'll be like the dad from Hoosiers.
Yeah,
stumbling out on the court, screaming, yelling, "Get to run the picket fence!" Oh God! Did you bring a dad joke?
I did. Actually, this weekend, did you see how foggy it was Saturday?
No, but go ahead.
You didn't?
No.
Me and the kids actually tried to chase it down, but we missed. You like that? I even tried to set that up
misty.
for you.
Yeah, I get it. Awesome. Why did the non-binary prospector head west?
Don't know.
There was gold in them there hills.
Oh my gosh.
Get it?
Yes. Got it. Canceled.
That's not cancel worthy. That's just, I guess, a play on words. Yeah. Well, look, man, I think I said 34 years last year. Actually, we're in our 34th year.
You've been in business so long, you actually forget.
It's over 3 decades. How about that? It's not
3
3 and a half
decades.
decades, but we're getting close. I know. And you've been here for half of that time.
Almost.
15 years. That's nuts. So I figured we today would go over, this is the most random list of just thoughts on things that we've learned. A lot of them are recent because we're constantly learning and we're in a new business now. And so a lot of these are recent, and then you can add to it based on, your role has completely changed from that time until now. You probably have some perspective
15
on this
years
as well.
of change. Yeah. 34 years. It's not just one business. There's that. But how many businesses is it? How many businesses have you started in the 34 years?
It's been, let me see, we had the original business, and then we started a different brick and mortar concept, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that went well. We sold that to that owner. And then we had a consulting business.
Yep.
And then we had a licensing business, and we bought a fitness education business. And then we had the STS, which was a mastermind business. And then we went from licensing, which was sort of franchise light, to 2,500 gyms all over the world, and now we are in full-on franchising. So I don't know how many that is.
It's like 8 or 9.
Right. Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that, and that's going to be my first point, is every business is a brand new business. Because if the business is associated with what you used to do, you would assume that it's the same business. So we'll just use franchising because that's where we're in now. But you can use this for any other businesses I just talked about. They all have their own business model. They all have their own levers on how they make money. They all have their own cost structure. They all have different sales. Everything is different. It's a brand new business, right? A lot of people will ask, should I franchise my business? I get that question a lot. And if you're running a business, so say you're running a very successful gym or studio, and then you're like, hey, I think I want to franchise this. Fine. But what you should know is that when you get into franchising, you are in a completely different business from what you do. It has different mechanisms. It has different sales process. It has different triggers. It's so different from the thing that you are franchising. It's a separate business. It's so different. I would equate it to if we were in this business and then we wanted to get into the trucking business, right? Now, what are the similarities? Well, you have to make revenue. You have to control expenses. You have to have a margin. You have to grow the business. You have to scale it with people. That's about it. That's every business. But I'm telling you, the differences in what you do and franchising what you do are vastly different. And I don't think that's really understood from people that want to get into franchising. Like, I want to franchise my concept. It's like, okay, just know that you're getting into a brand new business that you know nothing about. does that sound appealing to you? Because that's what it is. And you don't think that. You always think, well, I'm just going to help people do what I do.
Right.
But yes, and you're entering an entirely new business model. Its own unique like structures and laws and rules and ways that you grow it and ways that you don't. It is a completely different animal. And I mean, you've experienced that firsthand.
Well, I mean, we have the easy segue to, I wouldn't say easy segue, but franchising, but like what we did, licensing, which we, would call almost franchise light, or we would at the time, but it, once you got into it, all the things you think and what you think's going to happen, just like every business, that's not actually the reality, right? Hey, we're just going to do this. We're going to get people. We're going to help them be successful. But as you mentioned, there's all these other things that come with it. And it's franchising. I mean, that's a loaded thing from all the legal and all this stuff. I mean, Suzanne, you want to talk about leveling up?
Right.
Suzanne has probably learned more on our team about anything but the actual alloy, like
right.
personal training.
Well, and and to her credit, like when we first got rolling, she's like, well, I'm not sure about that. And I'm like, well, that's what we do. You should know that, was what I would think. But really, the fact is it is a separate business, and we need to know more about franchising a business than we do about the actual business. Now we've got a whole department, which is you, who knows the business really well, right? But there's also the franchise business, which is a totally separate business.
Right.
And that part she's had to learn from scratch, as we all have, really, in a lot of ways.
Well, what we've done really well over this is like we never went into this with an ego. Like, oh, we do licensing. We know how to do this. We know how to scale a business. We still look for help. We still went for people that like been through this, sought their guidance, and then also didn't try to do things that we didn't know how to do or weren't good at it. Like we still leveraged other people, the who, not how, right?
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yep.
We definitely, I would say, like people get into business, like if you're have the ego, I know how to do everything. Like, but to your point, like you don't because it's new. We didn't do that. We jumped in, we leaned on other people in this actual, franchising world, and I would say that's helped a lot.
Well, that's a perfect segue. And my next point was, hey, there's a lot of smart people in the world. Be teachable. It would be very easy for us, because when we went to franchising, we had been in business for nearly 3 decades.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really easy for us to be like, well, we've been in business 30 years. We don't need any help. We know how this thing works.
Mm-hmm.
But we were smart enough to know that, like, well, we don't know how franchising works. And part of that would be, an example of that would be like we partnered with an FSO, franchise sales organization, because they understand where to get leads, how to work the consultant networks, how to work somebody through a sales process that they've already proven. And that was just an area of the franchise world that was blind to us. And so we were smart enough, to your point, to hire or partner with an FSO to be like, all right, we're going to need to have a sales process that works for franchising. Here's people that have collectively hundreds of years of franchise experience. Why would we try to figure this out on our own, right? But it takes a certain mindset, I think, that we're good at, which is we're humble, and it's like, hey, we'll take help from wherever we can, right?
Sure.
I mean, you and I have talked about, like, I can learn as much from a trainer who's only been doing it for 6 months as I can from a guy who's been franchising for 50 years. It's a different skill set that I might be hearing about, but I can learn from anyone. And I really do believe that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I even like just for current stuff going on here, we've hired more people on our team. I've had as much, enjoyment of just learning from these guys. And I tell them that. I'm like, hey, look, there's no ego in this. Mm-hmm. I'm not claiming I have all the right answers. I'm not claiming that like I know all the right ways. I want to hear, what your guys' thoughts are. I may not always agree with them, but at least I'm going to, want to listen, right, and we're going to get better. And that's how I approach all this.
Yeah.
You got to continually looking to grow, I think, and you would never got to like that 34 years if you didn't do that.
Right.
Right.
Right. And every step of the way, right?
Yeah.
Like same thing, like we, periodically with the way things are moving really fast with technology, every now and then you need to bring someone in to look at your tech stack and just make sure that everything's bolted together correctly and that you have the right things in place. And so we recently hired a consultant to come in to help us with that, because we're busy doing a thing. So we can just get our heads down and start solving problems. Everybody in their own department or in their own functions, almost in a silo. You need someone to zoom out a little bit and be like, all right, what is our tech stack? What is necessary? And where we are with 130-ish open, is that what this thing needs to look like with 400 open, right? And so, but we're smart enough to know, like, well, we don't know. We haven't had 400 open, but there's people that have. So let's bring somebody in who can look at our overall tech stack and be like, all right, you want to bolster this or simplify that, or this thing looks great now, but it won't withstand the pressure of this many franchisees. So we need to change it. And so I think we've always been good about saying there's some really smart people out there. We'd be crazy not to learn from them. And we always sit in the seat of a beginner and just ask questions and be like, well, what should we learn? You know?
Are we like considered an older brand now?
Well, do you know we won mature franchise brand?
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I'm like,
I mean, for years it's been, I would always laugh when they're like, oh, he's an emerging brand. I'm like, I've been around for 3 decades, longer than anyone else that I know in franchising, right? Except for a handful. Been in business now, not franchising, but still been in business forever. And so when they call us emerging brand, I would always laugh. And then we went from that, and they were still calling me that. And then literally like a month later, I went to a franchise conference and I won mature franchisee of the franchise of the year. I'm like, hold on, like it all happened in a month.
6 years.
It was like that 1 year of middle school where you grew up and got a mustache and some chest hair. Like it all happened in 6 months. Your bones hurt when you slept at night. It's like, okay, I guess we're that guy now. So now we're actually a mature franchise.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think you said we're top 2%. Is that it?
Yeah, if you get 100 brick and mortar locations open, if you're a brick and mortar franchise and you get more than 100 open, you're in the top 2%.
That's pretty good.
It's so funny. We're so poor at celebrating wins still, Matt and I think we started this trend of just like because we have so much more work to do. Like we have so many more. We've got 100 something clubs in process right now.
That's us. We're always, on to the next, which is great.
But what we've learned is we can do the gap in the gain, right?
Yeah,
we can look back and be like, hey man, like that's pretty cool that we've opened 130 in a few years. That's fast trajectory, but it's been good. And we've learned a ton, and we have a lot more to learn. And so I think it's always going to be that way.
We pretty much forgot your birthday yesterday.
I know.
That's how focused we are.
I just kept checking Slack every 10 minutes to see if anybody would know. Anybody? Does anybody know me out there? Everybody else gets their birthday recognized. When somebody finally did, I was like, yeah, oh my God. So in tears. The next one I have on my list is what you did is not what you'll do. And what I mean by that, and we've talked about this a lot on our team, is if you're not growing at a pretty rapid pace personally, you're going to struggle, right?
Yeah.
In a fast growing organization, because like the skill set that you had as a trainer was not the skill set that you needed to be a director, which is not the skill set that you needed to be programmer for and customer experience person for all kinds of weird brands all over the world, which is not the person you needed to be to start out as the VP of franchise operations, the only one in your department, to now have a team and then a bigger team and then a bigger team. It's like, that's a different skill set, right? And we have to continue to upskill ourselves along the way from a leadership perspective, or you just get left, you just get stuck. The Peter principle is like, you only go as far as you can with your skill set. And then that's it. You run out of runway. And we're all at risk of that on the team, but we all talk about it openly about like, hey, we all have to keep upskilling ourselves. If we don't, we're going to run out of runway. And if we do, then we're going to have to let somebody else step into the seat and take it.
You know what I like about like our team? Like we definitely have, obviously have grown with that, right? And we're all coming from the doers.
Right, yes.
Right? We've all done the thing, right? Which makes us good at it, right? We can all dive in when we need to. You remember the Steve Jobs where he's talking about like, they went out and they hired a bunch of managers or consultants or whatever.
But they didn't do anything.
He's like, they were great, but they didn't know how to do anything. Like, right. You got to have people. So like, even for us, and I think this is great, like scope, like a franchising is like, you got to be able to do the thing. Right. Anybody on our team can actually go and teach and do the thing. And I think it's now I'm being pulled out. I'm going to be doing less of it, but like, it's just going to be a better teacher. Just like for you, Suzanne, Jared, like Jared's been running all the real estate construction, but now he's got, he's stepping back and looking over the top, but he can still do the thing.
If he had to.
Which for growth of a company, I think is very important. I mean, like imagine if we all of a sudden just start changed out people for managers. That'd be a mess.
Yeah. Well, and that's the risk you run. Like as we grow larger, to keep our culture together, will there be strategic positions that we'll need to bring in from outside? Maybe, but you really need to do that with caution, because if you don't know the thing, granted, we just said 2 seconds ago, franchising is a separate business, and I'm acknowledging that, but there is something to be said for the culture and understanding like what it is that we're trying to do with the thing that we're franchising, right? And knowing that role well enough. And another point I wanted to make about this is the thing that you did to get where you are might be diametrically opposed to the thing that you now need to do. And so it's a little bit of if you remember the video of Rick Warren, I think he ran some super church out west, and he talked about you can't have like a loss of something without grieving, right? And so basically, like when you leave your role, let's say as a doer, and now you're like a coaching other doers, right? You have to kind of change who you are in a lot of ways, and basically how you think of yourself, right? Like, who are you as a leader? It's like, okay, now I'm this person. But in changing, there is a loss of identity of who you used to be. You used to be the execution guy, or I used to be this guy. And it's like, well, you're not that person anymore. It's uncomfortable to go from one person to another, even from a leadership standpoint. And when you do so, you're losing the old identity that you had. It's hard to do that. And then you, in some ways, I know it sounds kind of weird, but you kind of grieve the loss of what you used to be. And it's really easy. You'll feel that like weird inner friction of getting pulled back to want to go back to what you know, what you used to do.
Sure.
And you got to like really work hard to push through that, to understand that, okay, the things I did to get me here, I value those things. Those are part of like how I feel about myself, my ego, what I'm good at. And I have to literally step out of that. And it took me a ton of time to get here, by the way, and a ton of scars to get where I am. And I have to abandon that in a lot of ways to move up, to get into another area where I'm going to be just as uncomfortable. And it's like I'm starting over, right? And there's always going to be this tug to want to pull you back to what your old identity, in this realm, work realm, whatever that is, was, and where you were comfortable. And it's just a whole bunch of stew of discomfort and imposter syndrome and all the things that go with it, right? But you have to like kill the old person in some ways to become the new person. And that's really hard for people to do, right? And I'm really proud of our team, and we've been able to do it so far. And it's like, we just kind of do it like, well, I think we're all in it together. So it feels like this load of camaraderie where we're all like, kind of mildly uncomfortable while also recognizing that we need to keep leveling up, right? Does that make sense?
No, 100%. I mean, I'm in the middle of it right now. I'm killing the old guy, right?
Yeah.
I got a whole new team. I've got to let go of things, right? I got to be okay letting somebody else be the voice, talk. It is uncomfortable for sure, because you're like, that's not how I do it, or that's not how I'd say it, or this is, right? But you have to do that to grow, because if not, I mean, like, how are we going to scale this? Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, ultimately, like, you're probably going to have the biggest department, right? Because you're servicing open franchisees, and we're opening them at a pretty good clip. So it's like you have one of the probably the most important role transition. Think about your transitions thus far. Like, how uncomfortable are you? We tell the joke about almost passing out when you sold your first, personal training membership as a director, right? You bring that up again. But to go from coach to director to the licensing business and coaching in there, now to this, and now like there's another step and another step. It's like, man, it's a lot. It is, but you just have to be wired the right way. As long as you can accept the fact that like, it's going to be really uncomfortable to kill a part of my ego and my identity, but I'm doing it for the greater good. It's good for me. It's good for the team. It's like, and if you can't do it, you're pretty much saying this is where I'm at. I've reached my limit.
That's the top.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. I've reached my limit. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But at the same time, I feel like I really want our team to continue to evolve. And we all have, right?
I mean, you've said that since day one. I mean, you've honestly like, hey, you keep pushing us. So, even you like seeing that early, which is cool. You're like, hey, you what you're doing today is not what we're going to do tomorrow. You better,
Well, and I've admitted even for myself, I think it's one thing to sit at the table and be like, we all have to keep growing. We're in a fast growing company. Right. We're only going to go as far as this leadership team can grow. And if we can't do it, we need to step out of the way and let somebody else do it. But the fact is, this thing's a living, breathing entity. It needs a certain skill set around it. If we can't build it ourselves, then we need to move out of the way and hire it or whatever that is. And so far we've been able to keep it on the rails, but I think it's a good mindset to keep, because then we're all in it together. We all understand the discomfort that everybody else is in as we grow, right? And we seek outside counsel. To our earlier point, if we need it, we'll obviously be adding team members in the future. They're going to come with their own skill sets. That'll help us as well. But always knowing that like there's this slight level of discomfort in a death of the old person to be the new person, which is just an interesting dynamic, I think.
In all of your ventures, from gym business, licensing, there is like that aspect. I think some people, and we've had conversations around this, go into a business and try to skip pieces of the process, that, moving up the ladder, if you will. And everything you've done, I can pretty much feel pretty confident to say, like, you started in the trenches of that business, right? And learned it and then expanded. Is that accurate?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, it's just been so long. I've been in every phase of the business.
Right. But like, is it realistic to any growing or starting a business to be just like launch it and not try to be in that seat, like to grow with the business. Just for example, you're talking about growth for a company. Like I've worked hard and earned to be where I am now. I didn't just walk in and this is the expectation.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's, well, there's two ways to look at that, because I think in a parallel world, let's say we were bringing in a compliance officer.
Sure.
That's very specific to franchising, right?
Yeah.
So that person might have a parallel journey going in another company, as an example, and then they make a lateral move into our company, or a slightly vertical up move into our company, and they're new to us, but they're not new to their thing. So they've also earned their stripes, if that makes sense.
Sure, but just starting a business.
Do you mean just like starting from scratch?
Yeah, which is what we do, right? Here's a franchise, right? You start from scratch. I mean, just overall, like I think people, to get to where you're at, for example, I mean, you didn't have 8, 9, or God knows 10 businesses without building them and earning your way into whatever role you ended up being.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I think there are certain people that are very talented and they can start at 24 years old and start a company and really understand scale, and maybe they bring on the right people around them, mentors or whatever, and they can do it. It's not usual though. I think most people need to just be patient. It just takes time. It takes time to build the skill set and the mindset and all the things we're talking about today to have a successful business. And if let's just say you're coming into Alloy as a franchisee and you're like, well, I don't have that kind of time. Well, you're going to borrow our confidence. And you're going to borrow our resolve, and you're literally going to buy our business model, right? It's like, it's a shortcut. But even like the nuts and bolts, you're just going to get it in a package. Here's the Bible of Alloys. Here's guides, and we're going to teach you how to do the thing, and you just got to go do the thing. The mindset and the emotional control and all those things, you're going to have to borrow it from us until you figure it out on your own.
Yeah,
that's what franchising gives you.
You get
a
the
shortcut.
support and everything in there, but like just
but if
everything.
you're starting from scratch, to your point, you're going to have to just get your lumps, and just going to take some time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you've done it as well. The next one is, and this is just something I've learned over time. It's like when you learn to be more patient. I've used this statement a lot, but the statement is ignorance before malevolence. And I say this through the lens of people. Like it's really easy. Like you hear sometimes people will bitch about like, I can't get any good help, or these people aren't good here. And I hear it like at conferences, people will be talking about other business, certainly in the fitness business, like, I can't find any good help these days. All these millennials, back when that was a thing, like, they don't work hard. I'm like, I don't really know. I'm not having that experience. Right. And so I think it's a good chance or an opportunity, as I would say, to look in the mirror and be like, listen, I doubt the people that are working with you, for you, however you want to put that, are purposely showing up every day to make your life miserable and to do a shitty job. Would you agree? I don't think that's what they're doing. So
no,
it might feel like it, but I would say the best opportunity for growth is to look in the mirror and be like, all right, have I clearly communicated expectations in a way that this person can understand and execute on? Do I have standard operating procedures that are in place that they can follow? All the things. Because if you don't, I just don't believe that many people are, out to get you or that lazy. I think it's like it could be a cultural thing. I mean, you're going to make a bad hire here and there, but I think typically it's just a leadership thing, right? Have you given them the tools they need to be successful? Are you supporting them properly? If you do that, I think you can. There are really good people out there, and there's a lot of really good people out there.
We've talked about leadership in so many different ways throughout the years with this. I mean, what podcast is this, like 600? Overall, that role, that leadership role, that's the pain point typically, right? Nobody's out there trying to jack up your business or like trying to do things like, to mess you up on purpose, to your point. It is usually like the leader, expectations. I like using like the calmest person in the room is typically the best leader. You can kind of see that really quick, right?
Right.
Like nothing phases them. Like I would say like our best leaders, our best franchisees in the network, like they're very calm people typically.
We had an issue once where our CRM hiccuped, and it's the largest one in the world, so it certainly wasn't anything of our doing, and just software. I mean, it happened today. Like, was it Cloudflare or whatever went down, and it shut down a bunch of different sites nationwide. It's like people panicking, But when that happened, we had franchisees that like really were upset and they were having an emotional response. And we had other franchisees that were just very calm and rational. But if we looked at those, and we did, the ones that had the biggest reaction were typically not performing as well as the ones that were very calm about it. So there's something to it, right?
Yeah, which that goes right to your people. You live in that chaos or that world, and there's probably other things not going on. That's when you see those stuff. But I mean, I can't remember working here for 15 years of like, oh yeah, that person was just out to screw us.
Never.
I mean,
it's happened a handful of times, but for the most part, it's typically been our fault. It really has.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe it's just not a good match. But that parlays perfectly into my next one, which is 99% of your problems of your own doing. I think one thing that's really interesting to me is the being an entrepreneur. Like I've only done this, so I don't know any other lens, right? But I find it interesting that some people will look for a lot of external sources as the reason that they might not be as successful as they want to be, right? It could be for anything, really. It could be for your personal life. It could be for whatever. But what really baffles me about this, and maybe the sad part about it, if you want to put it that way, is that when you are blaming outside, external forces for your predicament, whether it be, a business, personal, or whatever, you're basically giving away all of your power to fix it, right? Because you're basically saying, like, it's not my fault, and that might feel good in the moment. Like, okay, my business isn't doing it. It's not my fault. Let's just joking, the ones that all my leads are bad, or like, I can't find any good people, or I'm in a weird market, right? Mm-hmm. Or whatever those things are. But by saying that, you're basically saying I have no sovereignty over any solution that I could ever come up with. I'm never going to be able to fix this. I'm giving up all control to outside sources in my life. I have no influence at all. And I just find that to be sad. So what's the option? You have no influence over your life whatsoever. Like, you should look in the mirror, and the more you can take on the blame, as much as that might hurt in the moment, what you're really saying is it's really an optimistic point of view, because like, if it's mostly my fault, I can fix that. If it's mostly everybody else's fault or the environment or whatever, I can't fix that. And so I can do nothing to affect change in my life. I think resilient individuals, certainly entrepreneurs, the first thing they do is look in the mirror and be like, okay, so there's 99% of the things that are not working for me now are under my control. If I just fix these, then sure, if there's a pandemic, there's nothing I can do about that. But within that, I can still navigate. If I have the mindset that 99% of the things, even behind that, are under my control, I'm always in a position to be able to fix it.
I mean, there's always things, right? I mean, there's always a solution. It's whether you want to look at it that way. When I teach sales here, I always coach all the coaches that come through. I'm like, look, when you talk to prospects, one of the things they're going to do is they're going to tell you right away all the reasons that they can't do this, which is the exact same thing that you're talking about. You're just like, I'm just looking for all the reasons why I'm not going to be successful, or the things that are going to get me bad. And it's just a human nature, thing. And it's just a mindset to go into it, right? Versus like, all right, I know here's some obstacles that I may have, but let me figure out a solution around them, which is entirely different. But that's harder, right?
It is. But if you just could shift gears a bit and say, okay, one is empowering. First of all, I have to look in the mirror and say, okay, this is all my fault. Now, that might be the painful part, right?
Sure.
But if you can say that, if you can maybe look at it through a different lens and think, okay, that's really empowering, because that means if it's all my fault, I'm in full control of the solution, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas if it's everyone else's fault, I've got no chance of changing this for the positive. So that could business, like think about clients, like weight loss, business, fitness, health, personal relationships, anything in your life. If you feel like you are responsible for most of it, you can fix it.
It's not my fault. There's literally 10 McDonald's between me, where we're working right now, and my home. I can't. There's nothing I can do.
You can stop.
I gotta stop. Like I gotta hit one of them.
Yeah. Well, you're right, Matt. Until McDonald's decides to close at least.
So you're gonna have to call them.
I can't do anything, bro. I'm stopping.
It's out of my hands.
Well, exactly, right? How sad is that? It means you have no agency over your life whatsoever. Route? Yeah, exactly. A couple of other ones. Say no to a lot of really good ideas or great ideas, right? It's hard because, it's like there's this fine balance of like keeping your peripheral vision open enough to recognize an opportunity while also staying focused on the main thing. And it sounds like those are in stark contrast to each other, and they are in a lot of ways. But I think there's a fine line, and it's a skill that you can develop over time where you need to really stay focused on the main thing. And I do see, and I've talked about this a lot on this podcast, entrepreneurs that they'll start a business they'll run into some headwinds. Now, because I'm not in it emotionally and I'm looking down on it from crop duster height, I can be like, I see these very similar and usual things happening in a business, right? So maybe it's scale. Maybe it's they got to kill the old person to be the new person, whatever those things are, right? So they start running into some headwinds. But instead of saying, okay, these are normal headwinds, these aren't even problems to be solved. They're just to be managed through, right? They don't do that. They're like, oof, this business there must not be a market for this. Or like, I don't like this business, right? So then they take a lateral step and they're like, I'm going to start this. Like, this is going to be the one. And they grow it. And while they don't recognize it, they reach sort of the same stage of development, same headwinds apply. And for me, because I'm not in it emotionally, I look at them, I'm like, oh, it's the same thing happening in two different businesses, right? But to them, it's like a totally different reason why this isn't working, right? Then they take a step to the left and they start another business. And then they end up with like 6 or 7 different like half-baked businesses. And what they fail to realize is like the one thing is themselves or some kind of personality trait or whatever. They're unable to push through those headwinds in any of those businesses. And for me, if I look at it, because I'm not emotionally involved in their businesses, it's all the same thing. It's like the same emotional mechanism happening in 6 different businesses, but to them, there's another reason. It's the market. It's this, it's that, it's this type of, it's the wrong customer or whatever that is. And it's like, man, just stay focused on one thing. But what that really means is you got to stay focused on the thing and push through those headwinds when it feels like everything's against you. You've picked the wrong thing to do. It's hard. And I think some of that just comes with time where you're like, no, it's not hard. This is not unique to my business. Maybe this particular challenge, but you take 2 steps to the right and maybe I'm in the trucking business. Well, it has its own challenges. Maybe it's government regulations or maybe it's, shortage of truck drivers, right? There's a union that you're battling with. I don't know what's going on over there, but every business has those, right? That's the thing. That's very common. And so just because you reach some constraints, it's like you just have to be able to keep doing the thing long enough to figure out what that is. But if you can never stay focused and push through that, you're never going to be able to scale a business. You're just not.
Talk about what that would do to your team.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe you have 6 different teams, but typically in a smaller entrepreneurial setting, you're borrowing team members from other business models.
Imagine you came in here tomorrow and be like, hey, we're going to start selling smoothies.
Right?
Like, fuck.
Well, right? I know. Like, Matt, learn about ingredients. Find me some strawberries. But I know plenty of companies. It's like, you run into some headwinds in franchising and now you're making, now you start a supplement company and then you start a different company and you start a different company. It's like, what are you doing? Right. Or I remember when I first got into franchising fitness, there's another fitness franchisor who started a mastermind group for how to scale your fitness franchise. I'm like, well, I mean, I could take a step back and think, well, if I was really running a big fitness franchise, why would I start a side business that taught other people how to run a fitness franchise? Like, why don't I just keep doing my thing until I had it at so much scale, right? It's like you couldn't be out of territory.
Why are like the most expert gamblers have podcasts teaching you how to be gamblers?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Give you my 5-step course on how to be a great gambler. It's like the best gamblers are just gambling, by the way, right. Just making really good money. Yeah, so anyway, if you can look in the mirror and you can say, look, most of my problems are my own and I have power over being able to fix those. I think it's a really powerful way to view the whole world. I really do. Like your whole life. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, most of these things I'm doing, they're not helping me. Sure, there's some extenuating circumstances, but most of the things that even my reaction to those circumstances is under my control.
It's the government.
And look, it's kind of like the old thing people say, like, nobody's coming to save you, right? They're not. There's just nobody out there. There's not a person or a thing or a widget or a software or a tool. There's not a home run. It's just a whole bunch of little things done through the lens of that's all on me in a good way. And nobody's coming to save you. Now, once you get successful, there's plenty of people that want to jump on board beside you and help you keep winning, right? But that's a different thing. I mean, that's just like, I don't know, that's a different animal. So you'll feel good once you push through and then you've got some success and everybody wants to be a part of your thing. But there's a portion of that journey that's going to really suck and be a little bit lonely. And you're still going to be best off if you look in the mirror and be like, all right, no one's coming to save me. I've got to do this.
I mean, obviously for you, you've done it for a very long time. I've been here 15 years and changed a million things that I've done and roles and et cetera. But it's like now looking back, it's cool. It's like, man, look what used to bother me and look like no effect. No, resilience is at all time high. Like, That's cool. That's growth.
It's a skill set. Yeah. Well, it crosses over to your personal life too. I'm like, no big deal. You know, I mean, it really helps you in all aspects of your life. That's what we talk. You know, entrepreneurship's a self-help journey disguised as a business. It really is. I do believe it. Consistency over motivation. I think, you know, we always talk about the whys of what we do to our franchisees. Like, hey, it's really compelling to get up and change lives. You know, motivation waxes and wanes, man. It's not there every day, right? And so I think whether it be discipline or whatever, like you just got to show up. If you're in a bad mood, you still have to show up. If you're tired, you still have to show up. If things aren't working in your favor right now, you still have to show up. If you have an employee that quits, you still have to show up. If you have a bad quarter, you know, financially, you still got to show up. But that's really a lot of the process of being successful is just showing up, even when you don't want to, right? Because if you only showed up when you were motivated, that would be like 3% of the time. And
showed up 15 years in a row.
Hadn't been motivated yet.
On fire.
Every day on fire. I mean, I do. I'm having more fun now than I've ever had in the business, and it's harder than it's ever been, and the stakes are higher, but I enjoy problem solving. So for me, it's like, wow, this is the most fun I've ever had because the stakes are higher, but it takes a while to build that up, right? I think I'd be terrified if I was just starting out right now. I'd probably get a full-on panic attack. But like you said, you build up that resiliency. Let me see. Don't hire somebody based on their potential. I know it's kind of, I'm just throwing a bunch of things against the wall, seeing what sticks. But I think we've made this mistake before. It's like, you know, and maybe this is for franchisees that are listening in, like don't hire someone based on what you think they could be. Just hire them based on who they are right now, right? Because I think how many of us have seen in any business, like, I used to be a sales manager. I can teach anybody to sell. And you hire somebody that clearly can't sell. And then your ego says, well, I can teach anybody to sell. And maybe you do. Maybe you move the needle and get them proficient enough. But what's happening behind the scenes is they have a massive amount of friction in their life because they hate what they do because they're not wired to do it. And then the result of that could be burnout, right? It doesn't always manifest itself in like really terrible performance. Yeah, don't let your ego get in the way. Like it's, and you know, some people are very likable, right? But they just aren't right for the thing. Just try to pull yourself out of your own head and your own emotions and look at them logically and objectively and be like, this is where they are right now. Hire based on that, right? That's just, I mean, we've hired how many people in our lives? Like 1 million now, right? Yeah. So just hire based on what they're doing right now, not what you think they could evolve into. I really think I can develop this person. And I know it kind of flies in the face of like, again, sexy leadership, but it's just a lesson I've learned over 33 years is like, if they show you who they are, you should believe them. And this is where they are right now. And if they continue to develop, great, but you have a spot to fill right now, don't hire based on potential later. Like they have to be able to do the thing right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, going through this myself of just getting people on, don't let your expectations of what that person's going to be and overshoot it, right? Where they're at, take your time, make sure they're good, give them the resources. But I think a lot of people, they hire them and it's just immediately, I expect them to be amazing. They're going to be amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and all that too is like, and maybe that is a part of it. Like, well, no, who are they right now? Because that's who you're hiring. Right. They're going to be exactly what you think they are. If your expectations are that they're going to grow into some amazing leader in 2 weeks, it's like, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, but I think people take what people say like way too far.
Give me an example.
I mean, like you like hire me and I was like, I've been in the industry for 20 years and I've worked at all these places. So people would automatically assume that I know everything. And like, I treat the people I bring on, even with franchise experience, the good people we have, I'm like, you know nothing.
Well, that's what you think. That's why.
But they're going to pick up quickly, like great. But like, I think too many people in this, when they're hiring, is just like, oh, it's a lock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They know everything. It's like, no, just start from where, Yeah, 100%. I have seen that, especially in our industry, because you might have somebody who's hiring in a vertical or an industry that they don't fully understand. So this person comes with 20 years experience. Like they must know what they're doing. So you almost default to their
I'll just give an example. This isn't even fitness. I mean, this is franchising. I mean, we hired Tammy, right? She's got years and years and years of franchise experience. It'd be really bad of me just to be like, oh, she's been doing this forever. She's been a business coach. She knows what she's doing. Like that would just set her up to fail awful. Yeah. Right? I don't want to do that.
Yep, 100%. And I'll say, like, and I've heard this said in a lot of different ways. It's like, let's say somebody's been in the industry for 20 years. Well, they maybe had one really crappy year in the industry of performance and they repeated it 20 times. And that's how they got to 20 years. They didn't grow through the full 20
They don't
years.
say that about me.
I do. 15 years. So Matt's had one shitty year and he's repeated it 15 times, and look at him now.
Can't stop, won't stop.
That's right. And then the last one I have on my list is just time flies, man. Like 3 decades have gone so fast. Try to enjoy yourself a little bit. I mean, life is so short. It really is. I know it sounds like real. I mean, that's like, how old are you now?
I'll be 40 this year.
Okay. So the average life expectancy for males in the U.S. is 78 years old. So if you look at it that way, which I know sounds kind of depressing, but like you're on the back 9 of your life, right?
Jeez.
And I know.
You're
Think about me.
Like last 3.
Right. Yeah. I'm on yeah, exactly. I'm teeing off on number 18 right now. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, what are we doing this for? Like, if you can't like laugh at yourself and have a good time and enjoy your life outside of work and enjoy your actual work, like, I don't know, man, it's just life too short to take yourself too seriously and to just not enjoy the process. And even the hard times can be really almost enjoyable if you can just laugh at them. We've done that. Like, how many times have we just had like these ridiculous like hornet's nest of problems we've run into, and we look at each other and one of us might be really bent and the other one just cracks a joke and we just start laughing because it's like, well, there's no other way around this.
Well, and I tell people, I've told people hear this, but I'm like, bad day, maybe it's, something's going on, maybe you got to deal with something, maybe it's something you don't want to do. Like at the end of the day, like you get to do this. Like I get to do this.
Right.
Like I don't care how shitty it could be. Like everything could go down the cloud fair, nobody's shit works, but I get to do this. That's great. Right. I don't have any problems then.
Well, it sounds really Pollyanna, but like if you're born in the U.S. at this time where we don't have a war on our soil, the economy's relatively good, other than the comparison trap that you might fall into, which is something that's psychologically you can control that. You're living in the best time in history. Like never have people lived this long, been this healthy. But, again, you can make bad choices and change that. But if you just do pretty good, there's so many opportunities right now. And if you're born in this country at this time, you literally won the lottery. Literally won the lottery.
You haven't been on Facebook lately, have you? It's terrible out there.
No. What's the book? I can't remember the book, but it was all the stats on how great things are right now in the world. And people they're screaming, no, it's not. That sounds easy for you to say. I'm like, listen, man, life is pretty good. If you just woke up today, you should probably be thanking your lucky stars.
Because it's just boiled lamb or chicken for every meal.
Yeah, I mean, you could be eating dead flies and living in a village somewhere that's war torn. It's like you're not. You live here, right. And your biggest problem is, again, you have 10 McDonald's you have to pass up on the way home. So
shit.
Yeah, right. I know. Life's hard.
I can't do it.
That's a hard life, man. It's a hard life. I mean, you're not digging cobalt out of the ground with a baby on your back, standing in a poison up to your knees, but you do have 10 McDonald's to drive by. Mm-hmm. So I mean, look, man, you've got it made. So if you're even listening to this podcast, your life is far better than 99% of people in the world. So like, try to fucking enjoy it, like pull your head out of your butt. It's like, it's a great life, and it is what you make of it. And it can be hard, but the hard parts can also be amazing. They're always, you've said this a million times, Matt, cause I'll be like, oh, we have this challenge or whatever. And you're like, no, it's an opportunity, which I love it. I think it's probably the favorite thing that you do for me is everything's an opportunity to get better or to grow. And so if you are having challenges in your life, even if they're imposed on you, it could be terrible, but they're all opportunities, to learn something or to get better. So like, I don't know, try to enjoy it. Life's short. It's not worth being all bent about all the time.
Perfect. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. That's it, my friend.
34
Another
years.
Year. We'll clink it one more time, even though you're out. You can have some of mine if you want. I actually caught a buzz on that tiny bit of
I did too.
A bit of liquor. So anyway, there you go. A couple of lightweights drinking and talking about nonsense. But look, guys, we appreciate you guys if you're here. We've been here 30 million years, and it's because of you guys. If you're listening, if you're part of Alloy, appreciate you. And here's to 34 more. I'll be 900 years old.
Back 9. Thanks.
Peace.